And welcome to this week's show as we continue celebrating Black History Month, where you will enjoy a conversation I had with my mom, Dorothy Robinson. We talked about her life at our always set dining room table, featuring some of my grandmother's table service. Born in the South in a relatively poor environment, she eventually became a model, a wife, a mom, a minister, and when she turned 80 years old, well, you just have to stay to the end to see what she did. One thing you will learn from this program is that my mom loves the Lord, and she doesn't mind telling you all about His goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, here's my mom, Dorothy Robinson. Mom,
I'm here.
tell me what it was like growing up in the South. What was it like on an average day?
On an average day in our community, we had fun. We didn't have all the luxury people have today, but we were innocent, and I think that's a blessing. We had fun. We played house, we made mud cakes, and we ate them. People say, "You ate dirt?" I said, "Sure did." We had fun. Then I can tell you about the car tires. They made them so you could get in them. And we were kids, and we would get in the old car tires. And somebody would fold up ourselves in it, and they would roll us down the hill. And then the next time, it's my turn now, so somebody would get in, and we were so blessed. And it was innocent, so I think there's a blessing in that.
What about school? Did you attend school? And tell me a little bit about.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, of course, you're not that old, right?
Yes, I went to school. My mom was my first teacher.
No.
Yes, she was. And you know, you don't disgrace your parents. I don't know about people nowadays, but no, you don't disgrace your parents. And we had spelling classes where we all lined up in a row, and everybody had to spell. If we missed a word, we'd get a smack on our we'd get a whipping. They used to whip us in school. And it was okay. We didn't turn out bad, we turned out good.
You always tell stories about what it was like picking cotton. And for you as a child, there were some memories you had that were actually fun. Can you share some of that?
Oh, the picking cotton part? Oh yeah, when we were like 2 or 3 years old, we would ride the cotton sack. My dad would have a cotton sack, 300-pound sack. That's a lot of cotton. And he would put us on the back of the cotton sack, and he would pull us as he was picking the cotton. And remember, he was picking cotton on his knees. You couldn't hardly stand up and pick cotton.
Wow.
And that's the way they pick cotton. Sometimes he'd have 4 rows, sometimes 5 rows of cotton. That means that's 10 rows. And how he did it, it's a stretch. Maybe not 10 rows, 4, 3 on each side. That would be 6. And but he would pick the 3 rows on his side, and he'd pull us and pick the 3 rows on the other side, all on his knees. And but we were little. We enjoyed the ride. We would pull. Yeah.
But picking cotton was really tough. I mean, because most people nowadays, you think of cotton, you go to the store and you buy a plastic bag full of cotton balls that are nice and clean and sometimes different colors. But what was it like actually picking the cotton from the plant?
Well, picking cotton, it came in a bulb. And when that bulb would open, it would have prongs on each side. And the cotton was inside, okay? And in order to get it out, you had to put your hand down there and pull it out. And sometimes we have messed up hands because the bulb at the end, it was stickers. I mean, comes to a point, it would mess up our fingers. Sometimes they would even bleed.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you remember about that difficult task? And how did, as a people group, how did you guys get through it day after day after day?
We were saying people were happy. And you would think, how are you going to be happy under those circumstances? But you know what? Jesus got a way of helping everybody if they let him. somebody over here, I'd start singing a song. I mean, my mom would start singing. They'd say, "Oh Lord, I need you to help me. Oh Lord, I need you to help me." And somebody would pick it up over here. And then way down the line, somebody was way up there ahead of us, and they would pick it up. And then we just all sing together. And next thing, you got a whole big choir. Everybody's singing the same song. It's a prayer, you know. And then we sing a lot about going to heaven. Yeah, we
Why? Why was that? What was the significance of that particular?
Because we're going to have peace when we got to heaven. We won't have no more burden, no more heartache. No, we knew that even back then. You know, it was bad. But you know what? I forgot to tell you this, or I didn't tell you, about the fishermen always come through in the hot summertime. Here comes the fisherman with a truck full of fish. These huge fish on a big old piece of ice, what they lay them on in the hot summertime. Oh, we're gonna have fish today. Everybody, all the men took off their sacks and went and bought the fish, and Mama went home and cooked the fish, cleaned the fish, and cooked it. Oh, we had a time that night. Nothing but fish and cornbread.
Fish was a delicacy, which is why Fish Fridays, most Black people have nowadays, is fried fish and cornbread and spaghetti.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, we didn't have any spaghetti.
Oh. Sorry.
My dad loved buffalo. That's what we got up. We raised on buffalo fish, which is a scavenger fish. But I tell you, it was good.
What is the gift that God has taught you over the years from those struggles?
It's being grateful for what you have. I think we as a nation, as a people, we're gradually getting to the place where we're not grateful. We're getting to the place, I want more. I'm not satisfied with what I have. But we didn't have anything, but we were happy. And that's a scripture in the Bible say, in much knowledge is much pain and grief. And if you think about it, most people that have a lot, they're not happy. But if you don't have anything, you don't have to worry about anything. Because you're going to get that next meal. God promised that.
Amen. Amen.
People say, people are hungry and they're hurt. They're not. They got food in their house. I mean, I hate to say that, but if you don't have anything but a piece of bread, that's food. If you thank God for the bread, you want to tell a story about us having one slice of bread, one slice of bacon, and a tablespoon of grits, one egg. And you and I ate off of that. And I had some crumbs to put in the garbage. But we were happy. That's in modern time. But back then, we had more than that back then. Because during the Depression, when everything was bad, my father planted a whole field, all his field, he just put black-eyed peas. Just planted the whole field with black-eyed peas. But we had hogs, so we had meat to go in our peas. But all of the countryside, they didn't have nothing but just the peas. They go, "Mr. Watson, can I have some of your peas?" He said, "Yeah, go out and pick them." I think that's pretty good. It's out there in the field, and if you want them, you can go pick them, eat all you want. So they did. So he fed the community because he was smart enough to just plant nothing but peas. And is that protein?
I think so. I think so.
They said black-eyed peas got a lot of
nutrients in it, yeah. On a touchy subject, what was it like to experience life in a whites-only climate? What was it like when you saw the signs in the stores, or I'm sure you did come across that. Tell me the story.
As a child, you just do what you're told, you know. You don't understand, as a child, you don't understand really how bad it is. But we learned how to survive, you know, so we didn't break any laws or whatever. So you couldn't come in the front door. Nope. And you had to come in the back door. And if you went to a store to buy a pair of shoes, if you tried the shoes on, you had to buy those shoes.
Wow.
So you had no choice. And then the black people had their businesses.
That's fine.
And the businesses they weren't on the front street, they were in the alley.
Yes.
We would call them an alley up here, but they call them little dinky street in the back of Mr. Charlie's place. But they had restaurants, they had nightclubs, they had everything. And the people go to town on the Saturday night, they get all dressed up, doing whatever they do.
What about, I'm sorry.
And people talking about sin has always been here. There's been violence ever since, like I was a little girl. People would go to town, get drunk and fight. Mm-hmm. This is what, if you don't know the Lord, this is what you do, you know. But we didn't do that because we didn't party. My dad, my mom stayed at home. Mm-hmm. They were good Christians, you know, in that day. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Tell me the story, which I've heard you say this for years, but tell our viewers the story about the Night of the Dogs, or the Nights of the Dogs.
Or the Hound Dogs. That's what they call them down there. They call them, they didn't call the police, they called the police the law. Mm-hmm. And the law was after somebody, they thought a black man had committed a crime, and they were trying to find that black man, and they came to our neighborhood with those hound dogs. They was looking for a black man. If they'd have found him, they were going to lynch him. They found any black man. And my dad was out. He had been working, and he hadn't come home. It was dark. So my mom, we all started praying and crying. And she put out the lamps, blew the lamps out because they had the oil lamps. They didn't have this fancy stuff. And we all got under the bed and just got real quiet and cried and prayed, because we didn't know where our father was. And he came home safe, you know. But if they had found someone, they didn't ask any question. They were going to lynch him. He would have been a dead man. But they didn't find anybody.
Was that a frequent occurrence?
Well, whenever they said a black man done something, it was out there. Mm-hmm. So if you know, you just didn't do it. I can't say anything about the other stuff. Yeah, you didn't do it. You know they're gonna kill you.
Now, it's common knowledge that black people migrated to the north. Mm. And I think it goes all the way back to when the slaves were free, or when they could get away. The goal was to get to Canada because there was freedom in Canada. So that tradition continued even as you were a little girl. You guys migrated from Arkansas to Chicago. Right. Mm-hmm. So what was the goal?
The goal was, my dad, it must have been a dry spell because he had 2 years of his farm didn't produce. So he told my mom, I give it one more year. If I have a crop failure, he called it crop failure, next year we're leaving, we're going to Illinois. My mom didn't want to go, but my dad had made a decision. We're leaving here, we're not making any money. We can't even survive. Mm-hmm. So he came to Chicago that next year because it didn't, had another crop failure. And we never looked back.
No, he came and he got a job.
Got a job at the United States Steel Mill. And my dad, it was during the war. It's 1941, 1942 he came, I think. During the war. And they were hiring anybody to come in the door at the steel mill. And my dad's smart. He caught on really fast, you know. And so he thought he found an apartment for us to live in. So he wrote my mother a letter and told her that you can pack up and come on because I got a place to stay. We came, our cousin of ours came from California, and we rode with him. He brought us back in his car. And got here, no apartment. The man took it back. He wouldn't let him have the apartment. Here we are, my mom and my dad and 4 kids. No place to stay. But we had relatives, so we split up. And one stayed here, 2 stayed there, and my mom and dad stayed someplace else, and my baby brother. And then within a month or 2 months, my dad had found a 3-room apartment. 1 bedroom, 1 living room, 1 kitchen. And how are all of those people going to sleep in there? Okay, my mom and my little brother and my dad slept in the big bed. My sister and I slept in a roll-out couch, a let-out couch. My oldest brother slept in the kitchen on a roll-away bed. And we were happy. You know what, I tell you, people say, well, ignorance, you're happy. I mean, this is something new for us. And we were so grateful and just happy. Yeah. And the first place we found us a good church. We didn't stop going to church.
What about, let's move to our current climate today. We know that racism is not dead in America. And in most recent years, we've seen it raise its ugly head. Mm-hmm. So dealing with racial injustice seems to have gotten worse than better. You and I sat down and we watched the Charlottesville event on television, mm-hmm. and what I know how it made me feel. What were the thoughts going through your head?
All I could see was everything was there but the white sheets, you know, and that's what I saw, you know, and it just, I couldn't believe that this was happening here in America after all of these years. This is allowed. It was always there, but they kept it on the ground. They couldn't go out and leave it out for the whole world to see.
So do you think they're much more emboldened now?
Yes, they are, because nobody's checking them. And it's sad because people are dying. Because they have permission, and people are dying. A lot of these people that are getting killed, it's no accident. And it's sad because they're everywhere.
Yeah. What are some of your thoughts on how far we've come as a people of color? And as Christians and people of color, what should our position be during these times?
Well, I really believe that we prayed our way out of slavery. We prayed our way out of Jim Crow, out of the country. We've been praying all this time. And a lot of people say, oh, they did this and they did. No, prayer was behind that. And this is something that we're getting away from, and we don't want to do that anymore. We'd rather put our fist up and go for an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. You can't do that. And as a Christian, we don't do it. And if we do catch ourselves involved in stuff like that as a Christian, it's going to make you bitter. There's no way in the world you can get out there and get involved with stuff like that it don't leave you bitter. And you don't want to be bitter because God can't use you when you're bitter. I don't care who you are. If you resent me because of the color of my skin and you say you're a Christian, there's a problem there. And you need to get it right before you die. You know, so it's like when they integrated the schools. I remember that, and all of a sudden, every little white church that's got 100 members, they had a school. They did not want their children to go to school with us, and that's sad. It's really sad. It's sad. It almost makes you want to cry. And children, babies are innocent. They love everybody. It's the parents just messing them up.
Now, let's talk about, most people don't know this, but you are were an ordained minister, mm-hmm. and served in ministry at Grandpa Watson's church, mm-hmm. many, many years ago. And you also spent 25 plus years doing prison ministry. Let's talk about that.
Oh, those were great years. We could hardly wait. Well, Old Joliet, before they tore it down, we would go to that one on a third Sunday. And Stateville, we would go on the first Sunday. We'd go twice a month to those prisons. And in between, I would go to Cook County Jail, I go to the lockup, and I go to Cook County Hospital. I was all over. I just love the Lord. I just wanted people to get saved. I just wanted them to see there is a better way than what they're doing, you know. And I love, and on I forget what Sundays that the men's choir at Statesville, those guys could sing. You see a whole, you talk about how many men was there? Probably 100 men, all singing, and they could sing. They could sing. Yeah, and I loved it. It was good, even though a lot of people. Well, who was it I met? Not Jeffrey Dahmer. Was it Jeffrey Dahmer that I met? No, the one that killed the people. Richard Speck. Yeah, I met him. And people don't realize. Everybody said, "Well, alcohol messes you up." People talk about it's no harm in just taking a little bit of alcohol. Look, nobody starts out to be an alcoholic.
Right.
One drink at a time. When you learn how to lean on something to calm you down, when tragic hits, you go by what you learn how to do. And you keep going back, and the next thing you know, you're an alcoholic and you don't even know it. That man killed all those nurses. And you know who the person that was the most surprised was him. People thought he knew what he was doing. I lived with a man, my husband was an alcoholic. And I saw what he did. He put his arms around my neck, and I saw his eyes. All of a sudden, his eyes changed. It wasn't him. And he said, "Something's telling me to kill you." And somehow, I don't know why I did it, but it must have been God. So I put my arms around him and started patting him on his back and said, "Oh, honey, Mommy loves you. Mommy wouldn't let anybody hurt you." And it did something. He said, "Your mommy wouldn't let nobody." I said, "No, Mommy wouldn't let nobody hurt you." He stopped. It wasn't him. It was people don't believe in the devil, but it was devil. And to this day, until the day he died, he didn't believe he did that. Because he had no memory of it. And that's what I believe about Richard Speck. He's an alcoholic. He killed all those people and didn't know he was doing it. It wasn't him. People don't want to believe that the devil is real, but the devil is real. I don't care what you say.
Now there's no secret, and you don't mind telling people your age. You are 90 years young, 90 years old. Yep, I'm old. And you have, I like to say that you have earned every gray hair.
Sure did.
Kids nowadays don't have the same level of respect that they had back in the day. What advice can you give to young people nowadays in how they relate to their grandparents or great-grandparents or parents?
You should really get to know your grandparents and your parents. Get to know what was their childhood like, and your grandparents, because that's a gold mine there. You may not understand it now, but one day when you get grown, you'll miss it. You will wish you had spent time with your grandparents to know all about this, because it's really valuable. And you might end up writing a book, but if you don't know the story, you can't write the book. So it's always like, I value my age. I never had a grandparent. My mom, her parents died before, when she was little. My dad's parents died before he was grown. His father lived, he's the only one, but we lived so far away, didn't have a relationship with him, so I never was around a grandparent, to really get to know them, But first time we ever went to my grandfather's house, my dad's father, and found out the man had money. He had a barber shop, he had a funeral home, and a restaurant. And we used to went into the funeral home. As little kids, Daddy took us there. He found his dad, and there was a body on the table. They made us touch the body. Get used to old people, get used to dead people. So we grew up not being afraid of dead bodies. We weren't afraid,
Tell us about the object lessons.
Me knowing the Bible the way I do know it and living it. Every time with my kids, we would be in the car driving along, and all of a sudden I say object lesson, and the kids knew what that meant. There was something that I wanted to show them that was in the Bible. I just see that. That's what the Bible means, and I always was looking to something to teach you guys a lesson on what God means and what'll happen if they don't obey the Lord. This is what's going to happen. That was my object lesson, and I know you guys got tired of be sent off these lessons. It was, oh, she's at it again. And at the prayer time at the table.
Prayer time at the table. Yes. It was a prayer meeting. The food would be cold by the time we ate.
Sit down and eat. I sit down to bless the food, and I start praying and start to go off in my prayer language and speaking in tongues and just praying and just crying, and the kids are sitting there waiting. I remember, let me say this one thing. When I first went to California, when I retired, I sat up there, Cedric was sitting on the couch. I talked to him from 10 o'clock in the morning to 3 in the afternoon. He sat there and listened. I was amazed. I think about that a lot of times. I say, he never did say anything. He just sit there and listen. But I was talking about the Lord always the time. I don't know why am I like that. 10 minutes and I'm talking about Jesus.
It's in you. What's in you is going to come out.
It's true. It's true.
What's in you.
Yeah, I thank the Lord. I love him. And I just pray that that's my legacy. And I pray that it's on you. It's on you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is my mama, and Mama said.
Mama, how we doing?
I'm fine.
All right, you're good?
I'm good.
Not nervous at all?
Not nervous.
Oh man, Mama, you just met me and you're already lying to me. I'm just playing with you. I'm just playing with you. Why are we skydiving today?
My birthday.
Your birthday.
80.
Happy birthday, 80?
80,
Oh
80,
my
80,
goodness.
80.
Congratulations. All right. All right, Dorothy. 9,000 feet, 80 years old. How you feeling?
Excellent.
You're ready to do this?
I'm ready to do it.
All right, you got any last words for those people on the ground waiting for you?
I love you.
All right. I love you too. All right, yeah, Eric. Woo. Dorothy! You okay, Dorothy? Are you okay? Oh my gosh, Mama. Happy 80th birthday.
Oh, thank you.
You couldn't have celebrated it any better.
Yep.
Good for you. Congratulations.
I didn't put my feet up.
Oh, you did great. You did great. You didn't mess anything up. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right.